All right, well, if you want to start the meeting, we can start. We got a quorum.
Okay,
Bob pops in, then he can take over. If anybody else jumps in, we can add him.
okay.
It's 6 o'clock now, so I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And so we have roll call. So far, we're missing Bob and Christie and Doug. Yeah. All right, do we have any receipt or citizens petitions? I don't see anybody in the waiting room.
Oh, there's one now. Hang on.
Oh,
Bob is there. Let me get him over here.
oh, there you go.
Hold on. Oh, there he is. Now I got Doug here too. Hang on.
Okay.
Promote him. He's should be promoted. So for the role now, the only one missing is Christie.
Right.
Okay.
All right. I finally made it in.
Well, I saw somebody flash by for just a second. That might have been you, Bob.
I think it probably was.
Well, I got Brian Obon here coming in now too. So I'll get
Oh,
him.
great.
Okay.
There we go.
I had my pad of paper ready just in
Geez,
case.
I didn't think
You're
Bob,
saved. You're saved, Tammy.
I didn't think Bob could move that fast.
Brian.
I-
Dave, just
John Eric.
call the more meeting to order, so that's where we are.
Yep, I heard him requesting citizen petitions, and
Correct.
I was sitting in the waiting room.
Sorry.
And lo and
sorry about
behold, there
my
was
tardy.
Bob. All
Very
right, go
good.
ahead, Bob. We can go for the approval of minutes if you want.
Thanks, Dave. So everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Yeah.
I'll move the minutes of May 6, 2021.
Thank you, Kevin. Do I hear a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you, David. All in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, they pass. It's actually nice to see everybody. It's been a while since I've seen everybody.
Yeah.
This is good. Where's Christy? Oh, well.
I didn't hear anything from her, so I thought she was gonna be here.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything either, but that's okay. We're here and we have a quorum. So we will move on. We've got anything that any of the committee members have?
So I took a big long tour hike through the Groton Middle School on Monday, just checking out the fields and circumnavigated all the way down to the lower entry on Grasso Texas. Everything looks pretty good. There's a lot of good virgin woods around. I got through, not through all of it, not through the briar patches on the side of the hill there, but through the stuff next to Grasso, which looks like it was never touched in some places. And so a lot of good hike up and down hills once we put some kind of trails through there. There's a couple of places where there's some just minor debris or one big chunk of panel, looks like construction panel, and then there's a rusty folded up 55-gallon drum can next to the fields. But I'll send that to, I'm not sure who's responsible for those things yet, but I'll send it to Sam and you guys, just somebody to get rid of. But everything else looked good. I also was after the big rain, and the drainage looked pretty good. Felt pretty good at the grass fields. There was one edge, the northern edge of the fields were wet for like 10 feet or so, but pretty good drainage otherwise. And I imagine after 2 days after the rain, it would probably be better. So that looked pretty good. So
Okay.
that's my that's my little trip report for Monday.
Okay, good.
So the boots are waterproof, huh?
Yes. wasn't that wet, so
That's
Have we
good.
had any I have a question based on what I saw as far as runoff into the Grosso area, before we even started construction.
Oh, here's
Has-
Christie.
Pardon?
Said, here's Christie.
Ah,
Hi, guys.
has that improved any, Rick, do you know?
I haven't heard any further complaints from them. We did, and we have to show this to Sam again, he may recall it, but there was that drainage swale, if you recall, that went along the top of the ridge and down. That was interrupted with the driveway, and there was a drainage structure put in the top to divert it underneath, if you will, and then into the storm drain system.
Mhm.
But
I
on those
just-
last couple rains, we've heard nothing, and Brian may have been the only one that had. If he hasn't heard anything, then I would have to guess things are working okay.
Oh, good. Because it's, when you got up to that south parking lot, it was almost always water coming down the
Right.
hill from there.
Mhm.
So one thing I forgot to say was near in between the softball and the grass field,
Mhm.
the drainage, it looks like that didn't look too wet either. So I don't know it looks like they compressed the ground a little bit so the water will just run into the drainages. But
Well,
under a
yeah,
couple
they
of
did.
those- Under a
they
couple
did
of
do-
breaks.
Yep.
There's still that environmental, if that's what it is, the silts.
Silt
mean,
sacks.
There's
Yep.
still, there's still some of them covering on the
Yep.
outfield of the softball fields.
Okay.
They have to
Yep.
get out or whenever that needs to happen.
Yeah, so
they-
those will, oh, sorry, Rick, I was just gonna
No,
answer
they
his
did do
question.
some massaging there. They did
Yep.
replant that area. It looked like the grass started to pop in there after the
Mhm.
last rain. So it's good to hear that it looks like it's draining, and Tammy's going to report on some
Mhm.
other site stuff here during her report on the middle school.
Yep.
I might add that Kelly will not be with us until August
Nope.
now. She's had her baby, Connor Joseph, a little
Yep.
boy. From what I hear, they're both doing well.
They are.
And so Tammy's taken on the burden of all three projects. That was
The
gonna Close
burden.
out the one and finish the other two. So you'll be hearing primarily from her tonight when it comes time for the staff report.
Could we send Kelly a balloon or something?
We haven't yet. Need to get an address to get a card, but I can make an appropriate notation that the committee wishes her well or whatever.
Thank you. That would be great.
Yep, sure will.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Crickets. Well, I've been by West Side. Well, I can't call it West Side anymore. Now they've got the name up on the side of the
Yep.
school. Those are big letters.
Yeah, it looks good.
It does. It looks really good.
Yeah.
They've been going crazy. It changes every day.
Mhm.
They're enclosing the edges of the roof now. And I'm sure Tammy will tell you what's going on, but it looks really good. They've been flying.
Mhm.
So if no one else has anything else to do or say, we can move right on into, I guess it's going to be Tammy's show.
I guess so.
Parts 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll let Tammy report on the construction stuff. I'll fill you in on some of the closeout stuff on the middle school after she does that. She'll give you some input. I hope you all had an opportunity to look at that memo I sent out last week. I did mention some couple week delay in there on the elementary schools. Tammy will fill in some of the details on what's causing that for you tonight here. So right now it doesn't affect the opening of the school or the completion. But I'll let Tammy speak to the rest of it.
Okay.
All yours,
did-
Tam.
All right. Did we want to start off with the elementary schools first and then do the middle school last? What do you think?
However you'd like to play.
All right. We'll do that since that's more of a hot topic than more activities going on. All right. So we're going to start off with Cutler, also known as Mystic River. Right now, the storefront installation is substantially complete. The generator is installed. It's up and running. We've done our complete testing, and so we're good to go with that. All the binder has been installed throughout the parking lots. We have some MEP ceiling rough-in final inspections going on above ceiling. So we're getting ready to drop ceiling pads on the 3rd floor. That's going to happen next week for our final inspections. The curtain wall is still being installed. We have our pressure plates and trim caps, which is your metal pieces that go on the fascia of the windows. So those are continuing in the cafeteria, and we're also receiving glazing for the stairwell towers as well. So, and also the trim caps and metal pieces. Interior A and B, so taping continues. We're also working on, we have our first coat of paint as well in area B, and we're continuing on doing the painting and taping in area A. We do have the first coat of paint on in the cafeteria in area A. Epoxy floors are going down in area A, also area B. So that went down today in the kitchen area. Painting continues throughout the spaces. We're going to be doing some final painting starting on the 3rd floor in area C. Once we get our above ceiling inspection signed off by the building official. Millwork continues in all areas, and we also have flooring throughout with the LVT flooring. So that is also continuing throughout the space in area C, and then they're going to move on to finalizing the LVT in area B, and then moving on to the corridors in area A. Ceiling grid is continuing in all areas. Like I said, they're going to be dropping ceiling pads in area C on the 3rd floor starting next week. Plumbing fixtures continue, as well as the water fountains and the finishes around the water fountains. So that is scheduled to begin, if not tomorrow, next week with the stone tile. So porcelain tile is being installed in all the common areas, as well as the main entryway in the corridors and also the media center. The sidewalks continue. Also site grading continues on the exterior. And we've got plantings ongoing on the exterior. The ball field also, they are, so they're grading that to grade, placing down the topsoil in there, getting ready for the installation of the sod within a couple weeks. And we also have the elevator installation that is ongoing. We've installed the fire alarm is connected with the elevator. The lights are installed, and also we're working on installing the security cameras in the elevators. And the last thing for Mystic River is the locker installation. So all the lockers are installed in area C on the 1st through 3rd floors.
Okay, if you're done with your part, Tammy, I got a couple of things that I'll just mention quickly. You know,
Sure.
we talked about the paving out on Fishtown Road. We're still working with Eversource on that. I wasn't happy with their estimate, if you will. So we're actually having our contractor do the same. They did include paving as part of the water line installation. So we're looking at those numbers to make sure we get have the best price, the least cost to the project. Also, one thing that has started too is Tammy and I did a site walk with the planning folks for the bridge. So that bridge work ought to start in the back area relatively soon.
Yep.
They've got a lot of grubbing to do before they can really get in there and stake it out, which is what the planning folks want to see. But you got to get rid of some of the bushes first, you know, since they've already grown in pretty significantly this season. So I think those are all the things that I would add to Cutler School.
Yep. So so they plan on doing the clearing next week. They're going to start doing that. for the Fishtown Brook Bridge.
Okay,
Now-
anybody have any questions
You were
for
saying
Tammy?
flooring is not, yeah, Tammy,
Yes.
we're saying flooring is continuing. Being that the gym equipment is in, is that still waiting to be floored also?
So the gym flooring has not been installed yet. They're starting to receive the materials in the building currently right now. So they're looking to start the installation of the plywood flooring starting next week in both schools.
Okay,
So they're going to be working on clearing out the gymnasium areas and start the plywood.
hope we don't have the same problems.
So just so everyone is aware, we have notified the subcontractor as well as O&G that they are proceeding at their own risk, being that the building is still underway in construction. So they're very aware of that right now.
What's the acclimation time for that, for the floor before they put it down?
Generally, it's like 2 weeks for it to get acclimated to the building. So we don't have the actual floor, the wood flooring materials in yet. We just received the plywood so far.
Subfloor.
Yes.
Subfloor.
Yep.
The heating and air conditioning, that's all operational and been tested and everything, Tammy?
So the heating and air conditioning, so we have started chiller, one of the chillers at Mystic River. It is not operational yet in full startup for the space.
Okay,
We are working with O&G and their MEP contractors in reviewing their startup schedule and expressing the importance of getting this building acclimated. So
Okay.
we have areas where, we're missing the glazing. So they are working on getting that glazing installed. And as Rick mentioned in his summary 2 weeks ago, that, we do have a delay on the FGO doors.
Oh,
which
yeah.
will- Right. So.
yeah, I remember that. They were, weren't they
Especially
doing
with
some
the,
temporary doors?
Yeah, so we're working with O&G to install some temporaries, as
Okay.
mentioned in our last write-up. Correct.
especially
Okay.
with the weather being the way it is, going from,
Absolutely.
what it is today to 85 degrees next
Mhm.
week, it's
Right.
going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yep, they are very aware. We've made them very aware of the condition of the building. So,
Okay, thanks.
yeah, no problem. Any other questions for Mystic River?
Stairwells, close-ins, storefront windows, that type of thing.
Yep. So the north stairwell, we're still have some glazing that needs to be installed in that area. So we're working on closing in those areas. They are currently using the second floor as a loading area, but once they receive the glazing, they will be closing off that area because most of the materials have been received at this point in the project. So like I said, we still have the pressure plates and trim caps that need to go on to the, the windows once the glazing is installed.
Okay, and FF&E scheduling now.
Yep, so FF&E has been pushed off to the end of July at this point, based on the delays from the FGO doors, startup with the units, because we don't want to risk the bringing in brand new furniture with a building that is not acclimated yet, and while
Yeah.
they're
So-
still doing construction.
So do we have FF&E purchased? Is it sitting in
Yes.
a warehouse somewhere? Is it piling up in a trailer?
No.
What's
So
the-
right now, the just so you're aware, FF&E has been purchased. It's already been procured for a few months now. They have been made aware of, that as we get closer, and I'll be contacting them. Actually, I did today to let them know when to start deliveries. So I haven't heard anything with delays as of this moment. Right now, we're still currently on schedule for having the deliveries the end of July.
And technology is rolling as
Yep.
So Yep. So technology, I'm looking to, based on the delay of the MDF room, which is the main distribution room, in the IDF room, which is the secondary room. I'm looking to have the contractor come in more towards the middle of, more towards the end of June, like third week of June, based on the delays in both schools.
Okay, as long as we know what, what the
Mhm.
scheduling looks like. And this is not going to impact completion at this point, right?
No, it is not going to impact completion. We have measures in place. We've been working with O&G for temporary measures like for doors and, just so we can get the space up and running for balancing.
Tammy, is this building subjected to a pressure test?
Yes, they have been doing pressure tests all along. So
Okay.
we do have those test readings for the building.
Okay.
Same thing for the Thames Valley as well.
Okay.
Dave, on the
Thames River.
testing, on the testing and balancing side, we're sort of only accepting supply side testing right now. We're not going to accept any return side testing until the building is enclosed, right? And we have the walls up that are going to be able to create the
Right.
the proper spaces, right? And I know you guys all understand that, guys and gals. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
But that's so it's just belt and suspender stuff that with Rick's leadership and the team on site, we're just sort of managing the contractor's expectations. Oh, sorry, I have my camera off. We're just sort of well, I was typing and typing and typing. I didn't want to see people reading because Tammy goes 400 miles a minute. Like
I'm sorry.
I'm the fastest typer in the world. I'm the worst.
What's that,
Just tell me to
two
slow
fingers?
down.
That's a 2-finger thing.
Yeah, exactly. Contact. But so we're sort of managing on a day by day type of basis, and allowing them to do as much as they can, but not
Right.
allowing them to get to the point where they're like, oh yeah, this is done, because we can't verify
Right.
that completely. So
Right.
it's an ongoing thing, and I think it's the
I know it affects the door closers and all that stuff.
Correct.
Right. Mhm.
And to Brian's point, there are some internal glazings that have to be put in
Mhm.
that would affect the balancing, in the media center, for example, or in the offices, or in
Yep,
whatever.
in the
and all that-
gymnasium.
And the
Yeah, and all that
stairwells.
internal glass has to be put in.
Mhm.
The two spaces that are most affected as far as finishing last right now is the gymnasium. Not the gymnasium, sorry, the kitchen and the cafeteria.
Mhm.
So those are the ones that'll be trailing, if you will, at the completion of the other spaces.
Is that in both schools, or is that just?
Yes,
That is in
yes,
both
both-
schools,
okay.
yes.
Both schools.
And the only other thing I wanted to add, so you asked, is there any effect to the building? No, there's just an effect that we need to hustle when
Yes.
it's done to get everything in. Right? No, between Rick and Tammy, and Kelly put a lot of effort into it too.
Absolutely.
And then Arcadis is
Did you check that?
well, our position is this: is if that if that we need to bring down another resource to help Tammy to manage while Kelly's away, because of how furniture and all that's coming in, then that's what we're going to do. So we're going to make sure that everything is done in the appropriate amount of time. It just means that we're going to have a shorter time to do it. I mean, that's just the cost of doing business, right?
It's another midnight operation.
One of my favorite lines from Mr. Norris: "Take all night, even all weekend, if you need to."
Yeah. Take all the time you need, just all night if necessary.
That there have been
Any-
times, I was there on Saturday and Sunday for the middle school. Yep.
Any further questions for Tammy on this one?
No.
All right.
Moving
Okay.
on.
So moving on to Thames Valley. So
Thames River.
I'm sorry, Thames River. I don't know why I keep calling it Thames Valley, probably because
that's-
of the cable company.
It used to be the cable company.
Yeah.
Hearing from many people, and that used to be, remember Thames Valley School? No, Thames River.
Yes. So I apologize. So
luck,
Thames
Tammy.
River.
And the names on that building too, in nice big letters.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So starting with Thames River. So storefronts are substantially complete. Mason is complete with all the work, including around the elevator shaft. Coping is complete in area C. They started doing the coping around the roof in area B, and they started the roof edge blocking in area A. MEP ceiling rough-ins are substantially complete in all areas. Again, the MEPs are continuing to do their final above ceiling inspections to get the ceiling pads dropped. We did receive final sign off for area C first floor today. So they're going to start dropping those pads today in the first floor. So that's good news. So I mentioned the roof edge blocking, area A and B roof screening, it continues. Curtain wall install, so good news on Thames River is that we started receiving glazing for the bridge area. And they're also starting to install the framing for the curtain walls in the entryway for the bridge. Painting continues in all areas. Final paving will begin within the next week or so. All the binder course is down. Plantings are almost complete in the exterior. Sidewalks are pretty much almost done. We just did the asphalt side, the bituminous asphalt sidewalks yesterday. Plumbing fixtures are ongoing in all areas. We are waiting for the countertops in the gang bathrooms. So we have plumbing fixtures on site. We're just waiting for the countertops. Millwork continues in all areas. Ceiling grid install continues in all areas. Flooring again continues, and they're looking to do the kitchen epoxy flooring next week. So they're prepping for that currently right now. Electrical devices continue. Also the programming of the lighting, which I forgot to mention for Mystic, is they're starting to program all the lighting in all the classrooms in area C. Technology with the, this is the Promethean boards and also the listening devices that will be installed in the classrooms. So those are ongoing, and those have started and are complete on the third and first floor of area C. The other item for Thames River is again, FF&E is scheduled for the end of July, and technology, same thing, is scheduled for more towards the end of June. So pretty much Thames River and Mystic River, they are pretty much side by side completion wise at this point in progress. So they're neck and neck at this point, just working on completing. Again, they have the delay with the FGO doors, the security doors. So we are working on some temporary measures as we are at Mystic River.
So to add just a couple of things there on both schools, we're preparing to remove the office trailers and do whatever site work's required in there by the end of the month. So that has a couple of benefits for us. It gets all of the O&G people in the building, so they can observe things more fully, if you will, as far as that goes. There is a meeting scheduled with the building official in the city for tomorrow. So Joe Summers is going to meet with Tammy. They're going to go through his process because it's going to be slightly different than the process here in the town. So we just want to get a leg up on that and figure out how that actually works and what things may be different that have to be done slightly.
Tammy, would you like me to be available for that?
You can if you want, but I don't know if it's really necessary. I'm not gonna be able to make it tomorrow, but I think they're just going through the process just to get some of the basics.
Yep, we're just gonna.
There's not any issues with it, really.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, they've been more responsive, if you will, and easier. For example, the sign was a lot easier in the city than it has been in the town, which I guess I should have mentioned for Cutler that we're going to the ZBA on the 9th of Yeah, the 9th of June.
The 9th, yep.
Yeah, next Wednesday to have our first public hearing with the ZBA on the Cutler sign. So, but we've already got approval for the sign at the Thames River, for example.
Mhm.
So it's just a matter of getting the final bid information together, or not bid information, but change order information, so they can start ordering pieces and parts and installing that thing. So, quite a bit of difference in some ways between one organization versus the other.
Let me know if I can do anything.
Yeah, we will,
Sure.
Bob.
Absolutely.
We'll, I think
This is kind of my space.
yeah, I know. Yeah, this is, I think, an informational thing. I mean, you're certainly welcome if you'd like to sit in. Like I said, I'm probably not going to be able to tomorrow, but Tammy can provide you that information.
Oh, that'd
Yep.
be great.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's a virtual call, so
Yeah, it's a
I
virtual
can most
call, so it'd be
certainly.
easy.
Even if I'm just hanging in the wings and listening,
Yeah,
that's
right.
good.
Yeah, I'm listening in. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
all
Sure.
right,
Question for you, Tammy.
sure.
Street side on Brandigee, after the cut-ins by the steps and the driveways, we put new cement down around the area. The sidewalks that are broken, chipped away and everything else, is that the
Mhm.
city's responsibility, or are we touching that?
So that's going to be gone over with Joe Summers, because it was brought to our attention that they may be repaving Brandigee Avenue. So that may be included as part of their repaving and redoing the road. So we're going to be talking that over with Joe Summers.
And we had asked
Okay, I
for a
just,
price, in the event
Okay.
that, in the event that we have money and we think we ought to do the sidewalks, we have asked for a price just to have that kind of in the back of our pocket from our contractor, but certainly no intent at this point to move forward on that unless,
No,
The
I was just
building
wondering, 'cause there's a
official,
lot of breakage.
well, and if you look at some of it looks like it may be relatively fresh, but a lot of it looks very old,
It is,
So
yeah.
it's all discolored concrete as opposed to a fresh break look, if you will.
Can I ask a question, Bob?
Sure.
Or Tammy, Susan went over to view the railings because I expressed a concern.
Yes.
So I didn't know when that would be taken care of.
Yeah, so we actually, Jamie, I have put that information. I did meet with Susan. It did come across the consensus that we are going to raise the railings to 48 inches,
Yeah.
which is what's at Cutler. So the architect is currently designing that right now. They have provided a sketch, and Rick and I will be reviewing it. But those are going to be increased at West Side as well.
Excellent, thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Can I just clarify, because this is a sticky wicket for me, right?
Yeah.
It's the landing railing.
Yes, I'm
Right,
sorry,
right,
Brian.
correct,
Yes,
yeah.
the
Okay,
landing
because
railing.
We're not
Yes.
ripping out all the railings on
No,
the project, right?
no.
I just want everybody to understand. That's
Yes.
the case.
Yes, just the landings. So
Yeah.
the railing between the second and the third floor, and also the railing that is at the top of the third floor at the landings.
And I guess to add to that, Jamie, we, in the windows that are on the landings that are floor to ceiling, for example, we did put kind of a safety bar in there, if you will, that matches the frame
Mhm.
of the window, and it's being installed. I think it's about 3 feet high or off the floor. And, it doesn't contact the window, but it is there to prevent somebody from, and they are shatter resistant, if you will, but still, as a matter of course, if kids are horsing around and either
Mhm.
on the landing or in the
Yeah.
bridge area,
That will never
we
happen.
don't want them to have any issues there, kind of thing.
Thank you.
And by the way, if you get an opportunity to go to the bridge area, the glass is in on the side that looks
Yep.
out. It's
Yep, the glass is in.
magnificent.
It's like amazing.
It is.
Yeah, she's
magnificent.
actually, she's coming on Tuesday to
Good.
do a walkthrough.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we did go, like Tammy said, we did go through Cutler with the superintendent. We'd like to get her
Mhm.
over to West Side because there
Yeah.
are some differences and some things that are a little more complete, so she can get a better picture of what the building's actually gonna look like, the
Mhm.
buildings, I should say.
As it's called, they're fraternal twins, not twins. Anyone have any other questions about Thames River? No? All right. Okay, moving on to the
Oh,
last.
I have a quick one.
Oh, sure.
Elevator.
Elevator, yes. So it's in the same status as Mystic River. So they are doing their final connections, installing the, they're just a little bit behind. They have the lighting that they need to install and get operational in the elevator. And then also the security camera. But
I think
at the
they're both-
car,
Yeah, they're both scheduled for testing before the end of the month, so.
correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
so.
Mhm.
So they'll be able to support whatever the need is for FF&E and technology stuff.
Yes.
So I do have one question. So PCO log and budget on both the elementary schools, anything new or, and I'm sorry, I've been out of pocket for 2 months because of lacrosse.
No
But
worries.
what's new, what's new recently?
Spend all your money, Mike.
Yeah.
I saw the sign price, man, oh man, that was quite a,
Well.
Oh, don't
yeah,
even
that's
go
a-
there.
No, please don't
Yeah.
go
Don't
there.
go there.
Yeah.
Please
We,
no.
gonna look great.
I mean,
It'll look great.
it was sort of a short fuse getting that stuff to you. We had hoped that you have them now. So if you have any specific questions on the change order stuff, we can do that.
Yep.
Big stuff, there really hasn't been any big stuff added, if you will.
Okay.
It's all been
Mhm.
kind of nickel dime things that either coordination issues or that sort of thing for the elementary schools. So if you have an opportunity, we'd be happy to answer any questions on those either between now and the next meeting or at the next meeting when you've had time to review those.
Okay, and we're on budget. I mean, not over, not
Well,
under, or
That's an interesting question. Yes, the answer is yes, we're on the project budget.
Yes.
If you recall, and Dave and Bob certainly knows that the owner's contingency was put in the construction budget last time. This time it's set aside. What I can tell you is we're over the GMP, if you will, which is the guaranteed maximum price for construction, due to some of the things we requested, some of the things that were either coordination issues, which are keeping track of all that stuff, or other problems that may have required some additional costs, like the fire marshal wanted to fire department connection move from point A to point B.
Mhm.
So we are over the GMP value, if you will, but we're well below the project budget.
Well within contingency.
Well within
Absolutely.
contingency, and we did have money returned on both playscapes, if you recall, because they were in the site contractor's contract. So we recovered that $300,000 on each school. We also recovered close to $700,000 on each school for the technology. So that helped boost us up. We're certainly not trying to spend all that money or any of it if we don't have to, but we are well within the project budgets.
okay, good,
And-
thanks.
It
And
looks
it
like we should
may,
get some money back, hopefully, or not spend.
and it may be that, we may decide to use some of that
Right.
to bring the projects back into schedule.
We have spent some, and we have talked about that, but right now I think it's still within the range of 30,000 to 40,000 on both of the schools.
Right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Tammy, but I think that's about where we are.
I believe
on
so.
that.
Yes, I'd have to
Yeah.
double check though.
I mean, we do have a lot of the contractors, every meeting we have during the
Mhm.
week. We ask them who's coming in on Saturdays. Contractors are coming in on a Saturday on their own dime because they got to meet their schedule. So we do have a lot of work that's proceeding on Saturday and on some of the contractors, and we haven't had to go outside of that so much recently. So
Okay.
So the bottom line is at the moment, yes, we've overspent in some directions and we're still in good shape.
yeah, that's correct.
Correct.
Good, thanks.
No problem. Any other questions on Thames River or Mystic River?
Only thing I wanted to ask is bottom line on the change orders, what percentage are we at?
We are at, let me just see if I can pull this up here for you. So just bear with me for 1 second. All right, so percentage wise for Thames River, we are looking at a total of
Do, 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 do,
sorry.
do,
So
do.
we have
Brian, that's not helpful.
Come on, Bob. I only get so many opportunities, you know. So many.
yeah, no, Brian.
This is
The
one of those, like, oh,
category
I'm so
is-
happy Brian showed up so we could take the notes. I mean, you know what I mean? I had
I
to get
know.
through this, you know?
Let's see how fast you can draw up this
Yeah.
number.
I had it started, Brian. I had it started.
I can name that song in 3 tunes. Or, you know.
Yeah,
We're-
1.75.
So the owner request percentage, we're at 6%, design deficiency, we're at 0.74%, and owner request, we're at 0.92%. So for an average right now, it's 1.75% for Thames River. And for the other school,
And that's against the construction budget, not total budget, folks.
Right.
that's correct, yes.
That's correct,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
That's what we're talking.
Both schools are under 2%.
Oh, yeah,
Last time I
right.
looked.
Yeah, that's good then.
And
That's a fair enough statement to sum it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's
we'll
fine.
go with that.
Yeah, that's good.
All
Okay,
right.
Mike, yeah, okay, I'm gonna question that. You had 3.6% on Butler School.
Yeah, I was just gonna read that to everyone, Kevin. So and the reason being is because we've received more PCOs for Cutler than we have for West Side. So,
That's still a good number. I mean,
yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're,
your key number, I thought you said was anything below 5% you're happy with.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, all
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
so if you want me to read you off the numbers for Mystic River, owner's request is 0.01% for, I'm sorry, other request, AHJs. Design deficiency is at 0.71. The owner's request is at 2.46% with a total of 3.6.
Yeah, we got a lot more owner requests on that one, huh?
Yep.
Well, all of them, you know, once we get all the change orders in, like we're saying, we're a little behind
Right.
getting change
Right.
orders in on the west side.
Mhm.
But, you know, we got things like grass, we got things like irrigation, we got, you know,
Yeah,
those kind of
but
things.
overall, we're still
Oh, yeah.
looking good there.
Yes,
That's all we are
absolutely.
interested in.
Yeah, I wouldn't, there's nothing to be worried about because they're all at
Nothing's
the,
gonna throw that number real high.
no.
Not at this point of construction. if you
Yep.
will.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on Mystic River and Thames River? All right. Moving on to the middle school project. So we are at 99, we're so close, 99% complete on the punch list items. We probably have, I would say, like a handful of actual items to be completed. Most of the items are your site work, which we have reseeded. We did some slit seeding on the areas to bring back the grass. We have some trees that are going to be replaced that just didn't make it through the winter. So those are, and then we'll also be working on doing a final walkthrough with planning and zoning to receive their final sign off next week for the site plan. And then we'll also be doing our review in the fall as well to review all the plantings. The plant.
Just to be clarification,
Mm-hmm.
the trees and whatnot that didn't make it are still under warranty, so those are not going to
That's
cost
correct.
anything
That's
to
correct.
replace.
Yes.
Just so everybody understands that you know,
Mhm.
that's where we're at with those.
And they have come back and replaced some of those, as Tammy, I think, mentioned
Mhm.
earlier. There's still a few that they're trying to get replaced before we get that certificate of site plan compliance walkthrough with the planners on that.
Very good.
And the ones that are being planted also have their 1-year warranty. So anything that's
Yes.
being planted now would be have that extended warranty on those. So
Mhm.
we'll be watching that closely, obviously, too.
Okay. The planter is 100% complete for the Sutton Park sign. So we completed that a couple weeks ago. The Route 1 sign construction has started as of yesterday. And so they, as you guys drive by, you'll start
Those
to
of you
see
who have
that.
not seen it, it's a really big hole.
Yes, very much so.
But it has a fence around it, you know.
It
so
does
it's
have a
hard to
really
fall.
big fence around it, but
It
it's
does.
a big hole.
So you'll have pictures of that in your next report. So of
This
the,
is how big a hole you need to bury $100,000.
Yeah.
it's going to look great, Bob. You're going to
Well,
love it.
so some of it's in grass, Bob, so it's on the
Yeah.
top. I know, I know.
Bob was giving me a hard time earlier, right, for taking shots.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's why we have these
Yeah.
chainmail things that we wear.
All right.
Thank you for that.
So the other item for the middle school is, you know, we hope we're working on doing final closeout, and Rick will talk to that in more detail, but we're working on getting all the financials closed out with O&G, as well as their subcontractors, all the FF&E vendors, technology vendors, and just working on you know, getting, the only other thing that we have outstanding for the middle school is the replacement of the door for the makerspace, because we need to get that larger door installed per Sam's request and per contract documents. So that will not be an additional cost, just so everyone is aware. That is per contract documents, and it just needs to be installed. So they're looking to do that once school is completed after June 17th, when school gets out.
So we do have the frame for that. It's coming.
Yes.
They're waiting for the door itself, you know, so that's I think Tammy's covered all the work.
Yep, that's all I've got for the middle school.
You know, there was some sign issues with the lettering. It's been spaced apart. There's some support brackets that need to be put on, but those few things that are left are minor. I think there's 20 items and probably 16 of them are site-related stuff.
Right, exactly.
So-
And that's pretty much where it stands right now. Like I said, we have just about a handful, and I know O&G, Chris Rizzi, he was working on those items on Wednesday. The other thing that I wanted to add for the middle school is they did start the replacement of the hangers for the media clouds. So they started that.
yeah.
Yes, they started that last week. It's taking slower than they anticipated. They continued on working on them this week, and then they'll be continuing into next week, but those should be completed before the end of June.
Okay.
So
It's inside the building. Did we have any major issues, you know, as far as malfunctioning of, you know, any of the millwork or doors, hardware, locks and all that good stuff?
So we haven't had any malfunctioning of any doors or hardware or locks. I do
Okay.
know that you know, Sam and I, we've been working with the subcontractor in regard to the glycol that Sam is working with. So that's all covered under warranty. But that's all that we've heard. So nothing major.
Okay, good.
All good
Yeah.
news. Everyone is
Yeah.
very pleased.
the biggest issue is not equipment related. As you may recall, we had an issue with the floor tile that was repaired.
Yep.
We've seen no reoccurrence of that problem, if you will. So right now we're thinking things are good to go there, and the people are working that building to death at this point. So it's going to be.
And the gymnasium floor looks good.
Yeah, the gymnasium floor looks good. Yeah.
It's expanded back to where it was supposed to be.
Yep.
So Tammy did talk a little bit about the closeout. So I wanted to fill you in on that, because we need to get what used to be an EDO 49F, then it was SCG 49F, and then it was a 1049F, and now it has no number at all because it's all done electronic. So what what we're working toward is getting all the final figures together so we can present those to you before the next meeting and get the remaining punch list items done and let you know where we stand so we can accept the project and then go to the Board of Ed for their acceptance on the 21st. So we'd come to you on the 17th, go to them on the 21st, and then after that, we'd be able to submit the final paperwork, start the clock counting, if you will, for the audit and go in there. We have been going through the paperwork. I think Tammy has all the attic stock taken care of. They're doing a final look through the documentation next door. You know, we have
Yep.
Valerie from Arcadis is helping us here, and she's going through and
Yep.
and looking through those to make sure we have all the documentation. Our O&G's going to provide us either a external drive with all the communiques that occurred during the entire project. So we'll have a copy of that. The Board of Ed will have a copy of that. We'll have the as-built drawings, and we'll keep a copy here electronically and half-size paper, and same thing will be provided to the Board of Ed. So a lot of times in the past, the Board of Ed lost, or Groton Public Schools lost something, and we happen to have it, or vice versa. So it worked well when we each had maintain a copy of all that project documentation. So if we ever have to go back and review something, I've actually gone back to the previous high school one and looked at some of their submittals on materials, and that helped us with these projects a little bit. So it's good to have that stuff, even though you're not necessarily required to keep some of it more than 7 years, some of the records, if you will. So that part of it's going forward. I'm working with Emily, who's doing the financials for Arcadis. And I've gone through a couple spreadsheets, and I want to verify the amounts with them. We are getting, for example, one of the subcontract, or one of the consultants we had, the inspector, we're actually getting $94,000 back from them. So we had a significant savings there once we got our arms around them. We are looking at potentially recovering about $200,000 plus or minus from the CM contingency. I've sent a letter off to, or email off to the architect saying we want to make sure we have your final invoice, because we're going to be closing out your contract also, and then we'll be working with Brian and Emily again on the Arcadis portion. So that's all going relatively well, and I was hoping to have more dollars and cents information today, but we'll certainly have it before the next meeting, and I'll try and get it to you at least by Monday, so you have a couple days to look at it, so you can ask questions if you have any. I would like to say Friday, but we'll get it to you as soon as we can, Friday, Monday, before the next meeting. So that process is
The point he's
moving.
trying to make is,
I'm sorry.
the point he's trying to make is that we are very much under budget on this one.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Yeah,
we should all be very, very proud of the work that everybody did on this.
Oh, that's correct. So Emily's number and mine vary a little bit, but somewhere in the vicinity of $5 million under project budget. And on top of that, we didn't have to buy property, so that is will be turned back or not bonded for, although finance has set up a separate account, and they're using a bit of that money if we expend all the money we have in our 3 projects for bonding, if you will, to pay for any of those additional notes or interest or bonding or whatever from that pot of money, which we don't expect to be very much at this point. So conceivably, we could turn back $8 or $9 million unspent on this project, which would be huge, you know. So again, you know, we all dug in and worked hard on it, and I appreciate your guys' support as we went along, but we're that close now to closing out.
Good.
Okay. Any other questions on the Groton Middle School?
Yeah, I'm gonna cause trouble.
Okay.
What's the main entrance for the Groton Middle School?
For
What's
buses, it's off Groton Long Point Road.
Yep.
For visitors and parents, it's down to the Grasso Tech Drive.
Grasso.
That's
Okay.
what the planning commission approved.
Mhm.
So,
That's what has
I'm
always
not-
been.
I'm not talking about monies right now. How come we have nothing to identify the east side of town with them coming into it for the Groton Middle School? But we're putting something down by Grasso for Groton Middle School.
well, that's because that's the entrance. You have to go up that road and turn left into the middle school driveway to get there. And there is a directional sign up at the top. There's a stop sign for the Grasso driveway. There's also a directional sign directing parents and visitors to that way.
Take a left.
Take a left.
Yep.
I've been there during parent drop off, and mainly because of COVID, but the traffic has been backed up partway down the road, down the driveway. I think one day it seemed like it was halfway down the driveway because so many parents were dropping off their kids, if you will. But the public knows where to go and how to get there.
Okay.
So Kevin, I think maybe what you were driving at is part of the reason why it's that way, besides the general design of itself, is because where the buses come in, that's really, you can't identify two entrances for the same building off the same drive like in that way. So if you look at GPS and the way that it's physically put into how you get there, right? And you look at the way that it's logged sort of in the world of digital or whatever, the location that's the identifier is that Grasso entrance.
And if you go through,
Sorry, Rick. So
That's okay, go
technically,
ahead.
from a public perspective, the public that entrance that allows the buses to come in is not considered a public entrance.
Right.
It is just an entrance that's shared with Fitch to be able to allow bus traffic to end.
and if you look at the wayfinding sign, when you go into the Fitch side, it does say buses only from
Buses, yeah, correct.
7 to 5 or something like that. So they're only expecting bus traffic to come through Fitch. Unless there's a sporting event or something like that where the field's being used or a nighttime event, then people will find their way and they have, so.
So, okay, if any markers go up, they'll leave it to the Board of Education to do the marking.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions about the middle school? No? Okay. Crickets.
I just wanted to ask one question if I can, and I was waiting for Bob to get back because he's the boss here, right?
Yep.
So, when I didn't know if we, under new business from the previous week, did we have anything to cover on that? I was just going to throw that off to you, Bob, to see how you wanted to handle that section.
What did you have in mind in terms of new business?
Well, no, just instead of moving, well, we had at our last meeting, we had Al Jakunski here and then he provided
Oh,
an update
yeah.
for, everybody, and Sam is sort of working through that high school abatement project. And so I didn't know if there was additional minutes or notes that needed to be captured under that section or
Okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just, I was waiting to finish this up and I was going to check with Sam for an
Okay,
update on
sorry.
that.
Yeah, I just had a separate note for myself to ask you what
Appreciate it.
what the deal was.
Are
So
there-
does anybody
are there
have any more questions for Tammy or Brian or?
Any tools, any tours possible
For the elementary schools?
for, yeah, the elementary school?
Yeah, so I'm looking to do, like tours more towards the end of June. Just to focus on just getting things done.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It's really chaos and busy in both schools. So if we'd like to do a tour, I'm looking more towards the end of June, if that's okay.
You want to look at the last week of June?
Yeah, we could do that. Mhm.
I mean, that would put you anywhere from the 21st to the 25th.
Mhm.
And then the actually, the 28th, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday would be the last 3 days of June.
I guess if people have toured it in the last couple months, then it's my bad that I haven't been available. But wait until the end of the month, that means everything's gonna get done and you're not gonna see what's happening right now. So, and you guys have been doing a great job, so it's just
I mean,
it's
if
just a
they're-
matter of us seeing work in progress to
Yeah,
after
I mean-
hours when they're not there.
Mike, if you want, I can, take a look at my schedule because I know you haven't been to the schools in a while. I could take a look at my schedule for next week. I know I have Friday open. If you wanted to do both schools on Friday, or if you wanted to do one week and one the other week, you tell me. I know you haven't been there in a while, so.
Yeah, one each week would be fine. So yeah, we can talk. I just wanted to, and if other people have been seeing it, then it's not something that I
Yeah.
need to do. And the pictures are pretty good, actually. There's a lot of pictures now.
Mhm.
So I appreciate it. Let me think about it.
Yeah, you two go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
And figure it out. Tammy's been very good about being available. I've taken advantage of it, and I know that
Mhm.
that several other people have. But she's in that chaos space now, and I think it's probably not fair of us to try and take her away from things.
And that's fine. And I think because I really like the site stuff,
Mhm.
I'm sure I can walk around without getting hit by machines and all by myself. But
Just
I know
have
you
your,
guys-
just
you
have
guys
your
haven't been doing
PPE.
that, but
Yeah, I just like to be there in case you have any questions, Mike.
Okay.
I just
That's
like to
fine.
be available for you in case you have any questions, so we can answer them right then and there. So I mean, that's totally up to you. But
okay,
you-
well, we can talk and there won't be long. It'll be a half hour.
Okay.
Walk around the grounds.
Sure, sure, that's
what
fine.
What
That's
I'm
perfectly fine.
is what I'm interested in. So
And I can tell you from having been at Westside, you'll be blown away by the change in the back
Mhm.
end. They brought it up about 4 feet.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like-
wow.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I saw that was in the plan. So I didn't know if
Mhm.
it's 4 feet or 4 inches. So
No, it's 4
and-
feet.
And it was reported by Zach, who's the APM over there,
Mhm,
that the field is really dry now. It used to be sort of soggy,
mhm.
but it was really dry even with this heavy rain or whatever. So they did a good job with the underlayment, the preparation of the base soil, and they do have the topsoil spread and actually have the
Mhm.
infield in place right now. So
And the retention basin really holds a lot of water.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
We,
And-
we did have a suggestion from Zach saying, hey, that would be the place you should put solar panels.
Solar, yeah.
Yep, and I agree with him.
Yeah.
They're out of the way and the space
Yep.
can't be used for anything else anyway. So
Exactly.
Yeah,
put
so
them on
Mike,
Okay.
if you want to just get with me, we can always schedule something with Zach as well, and then I could meet you at Cutler. So Zach's very good at doing the tours. So
Okay.
you just let me know what day, and I'll talk to Zach and see, what works best for him as well.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay.
And I'll throw one more thing in there to make it easier for you, Mike. Next Wednesday, the 9th, I'm going to be in Groton all day. I don't know what your work schedule is or what your availability is, but while the rest
I'll be in Norfolk on Wednesday. So
then forget about my idea then.
actually,
Bad idea.
my flight is 4 o'clock, so I could do the morning. So yeah, maybe that'll work too. So
Well, that's
I'll
up.
get in
That's
touch.
up. That's up to you. I'm just saying I'll be available on Wednesday and I'll be in Groton. So
Mhm.
Tammy's obviously going to be busy and Zach will be busy during the day, but I'm sort of non-essential, if you will. So I can tour the site with
He
you.
brings the pizza.
And just for your information, I have talked to Sam or mentioned it to him. We haven't gone forward with anything. That at some point they ought to have a public tour of all the schools when this whole COVID thing is over, because that was tremendous when we did West Side, for example, or not West Side, but Kolosky, for example.
Middle school.
Yeah, people were all, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Until they actually got into the building and take a look at it. I mean, I've had neighbors come up to me who have no kids in the school. They only live there 6 months out of the year, pay a tremendous amount of taxes, and say, I'm glad to see our tax dollars are being well spent. So we are getting, I haven't heard a negative thing lately at all about the schools. Everything I hear is positive. So
Yeah, me
it's
too.
really been tremendous, you know.
Mhm.
Have we been able to use any of the playing fields at all?
Yes,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
They were playing
out.
kickball out there on the softball.
Yeah.
They're all three fields are being used the other day
Yep.
when I went by.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Good.
They had a big softball game going on.
They also installed a Gaga pit. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but it's kind of like the new age dodgeball. So they installed a Gaga pit as well at the middle school. So they're definitely using the fields. Absolutely.
Huge.
Good.
Well, and that's going to be tremendous at Cutler, not so much at West at
They got a-
James River, but where they do have a basketball court, but there is a lot of open space over at the Mystic River site where they can have a little of this, a little of that. So there are quite a bit of open space around the schools, if you will, that could be taken advantage of either for educational purposes or just for hanging out and playing something sometime. So,
And Jamie, at some point, I'm going to have to take you down the trail to Birch Plain.
No, for sure. Talking to my husband about Gaga Pit because he was there yesterday for the field day and it was awesome. Totally. I have to tell you, we do want to get back on that property, Tammy, and be able to kind of look and see where we can start doing a trail. But no, Birch Plain is something I also was hearing about Sparkle Lake. I haven't heard.
That's the whole space.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, so I don't know a lot of those and I'm excited.
Like I said, you gotta come over and we'll take you down there.
Make sure
Wear
it's
long
long
pants.
high boots
Wear long pants.
and boots.
On tick covering.
Exactly.
Nice.
okay.
So have you seen your office yet?
I did, but it wasn't done. You know what I mean? So that's what
Well,
I
of course, but
yeah,
how cool is that world?
yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. Anything's bigger than what I have now, too.
Well,
And you got windows.
both,
Sure, rub it in.
both
Oh,
and that's a
I'm gonna
good point,
stay in
Bob.
my little space, just smiling away.
Because both schools, the principal and the vice principal, have huge views
Yes,
out on the
absolutely.
parking areas, sidewalk
Awesome.
areas,
Way
that
to
kind of
go.
thing.
Take a picture. I'll hang it on my wall.
Well, they can put you in the kill room, Chris.
this is
It's got a big
so,
window.
so Christy, look at this. This is something that you can work for.
What do you think I do every day, Bob? Someday.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna take one of the closets and just not tell anybody I'm in there. Just hang out. It'll be fine.
Well, there is a storage room that has a window.
I can show you.
I'll
I was just
take
gonna
it.
say, I can show you the storage room.
Yeah.
Over by the gym, right when you come in the back door there. To the gym.
Yeah.
I'll take
Nice
it.
little-
Back door entrance, no
Yep.
problem.
Yep. Sneak in.
Tons of space.
Okay.
All right.
If Sam is still here, I'm not
Yeah.
sure he is, but
His name is appearing. There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Smiling, Sam.
we'll get back to business here and ask him how things are going on the opposite side of the world. Is there anything that we should know about as far as these schools go? And then would you be willing to update us on what we're doing, getting rid of the asbestos?
Yeah, I'll answer the asbestos question in just a second, but I did want to make a comment about the field at the Thames River site. Soggy was the understatement of the century. You could stand on that field and honestly feel and hear the water running under your feet as it went across that field.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Wow.
you could sink in it. I used to teach, I used to coach soccer on it. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep. You could hear the water run through and feel it as well. So the second item, of course, is the asbestos project. Working with Al Jakunski, we went to the state last week via Zoom, handed everything in to Kermit. That's the guy we didn't want to get, but we got him anyway. Anybody's better than Kermit at the state, but There were a couple items that we needed to put together. One of them was getting the signature of a few more people on the front cover of the plan, which we did. And he submitted those to Kermit, and we haven't heard, he sent an email to Kermit today. We haven't heard back from him yet. But I think we've got everything in. We're just waiting for him to give us the go-ahead to go to bid.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Very good. If there's anything that we can do to like expedite that, let me know, Sam.
How good a friend are you with the governor?
I sail with him.
Nice.
Can you take Kermit out on a sailboat ride and see if he floats?
Well, we just,
Now,
We're gonna
now.
send him out on a
Sam,
flight
you wanna
ship,
race this
if you know what
weekend?
I mean.
Take him on a 3-hour cruise?
3-hour tour.
Yeah.
No, he's actually been pretty good considering, but
Yep.
there was one check mark he didn't have and he held us to it. So
Oh,
it's
well.
okay.
And that's what he's there for.
that's right.
Thank you, sir. If there's anything we can do, let me know. Anything else from anybody?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Any final questions or anything? Everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, it was good.
Wasn't bad.
Well then, thank you all for your time. Unless we have any other questions, I will
Coming
say
back live? Rick,
yes.
we coming back live in person soon?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. The town is opening the offices on Monday, next Monday, the 7th, without masks required. If you're vaccinated, they would like to maintain social distancing, that sort of thing. I did ask the question about live meetings, and they said not till the end of June. So the next meeting, and I got my fingers crossed, will be the last virtual meeting, and then we can meet face to face as we finish up the elementary school projects.
Just so everyone knows, I will be gone the week of June 21. I'm going to be out at Block Island for race week.
Oh boy.
I need to be away for a bit.
Yes, I'm sure.
So if nothing else, thank you all for your time. Go eat your dinner
Yes.
Righty.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
and
Thank you.
have a great
night.
week.
Good night.
Good night.
Good to
Good
see you
night.
all.
All right.